Hey guys, welcome back to the Pausing Porn podcast. I'm Mark, and today we're talking about how porn is working in the background of your life and changes how you see people. Have you guys noticed it yet? Not just when you're at home, but when you're out of the house going to the gym, heading to work, getting groceries, like whatever it is, you start noticing women more. But it's no longer based on genuine attraction like it used to be and appreciating the attraction. Instead, it feels different. Today, the topic of discussion is sexual objectification. I'll tell you guys what it is, why it happens, how it shows up, and how to start real change moving away from objectification and back to respectful attraction. Let's get started. First and foremost, let me explain what sexual objectification is and how it's different than attraction. Attraction is an interest in another person that's made up of emotional, intellectual, and physical aspects as well. It's healthy, and this is what's fundamental for a strong relationship. It's also deeply rooted in respect for one another. But then we have, on the other hand, sexual objectification. This is when someone's reduced to only their physical attributes. It could be just a body part, a body type, their ethnicity, or a mixture of these. And this is for the purpose of fulfilling someone's sexual desires. The word objectification comes from object, where the person is seen as an object. They're not seen as their entire self. And because of this, sexual objectification is not rooted in respect. Do you guys see and understand the difference? I hope it's clearer now, because it's something that I feel like could be easily mistaken. And I wanted to clear it up because today, I'm not talking about attraction. Like I said, attraction's healthy. That is the goal. It is a normal human response. But what I'm talking about is sexual objectification. This is something that's disrespectful and also perpetuated through porn. We've both watched porn. Probably way too much of it. Let's be honest. And so you guys know how porn portrays women. Sure, there are tons of different genres and countless sites, but there's always a commonality in these videos that the women are not treated as women. They're not treated as people. They're always objectified. They're commoditized and they're filtered through these features on the sites. Features like size, race, sexual orientation, whatever it is. And when the viewer watches these videos, they also subconsciously learn to do exactly what the porn sites and the producers are doing, which is objectifying these women. Yeah, so there you have it. If you're wondering why you started objectifying women and how it seemed to just come out of nowhere, it didn't. It's from consuming porn. They hypersexualized and objectified their actresses for views, and your brain did it for dopamine. That's it. So you're not a bad person or a creep. You just learned to do this through porn. What may be happening now in your life, as it did for me, is objectification creeps past the screen and goes into your everyday life. The random woman that you see in everyday life, they get objectified the same way. It's like another way porn finds its way further into your life. Instead of just in isolation, now it's even when you leave the house too. I'll share a bit deeper here what sexual objectification looked like in my life to see maybe if you guys can relate. Maybe not. It's okay. But first off, I didn't even recognize for the longest time that it was happening. Like, it would just become so frequent and it ran in the background, kind of like breathing in a way. And don't get me wrong, this isn't an excuse. Like, there was countless times as well that I did recognize what I was doing and I would purposely objectify women. But like I said, a lot of the time it would just happen as well. I noticed in my life too that I would objectify women in many different ways. For one, obviously I would objectify women when I watched porn or I engaged in porn or porn related activities. Like in these videos, women would be categorized and objectified by ethnicity, body type, like whatever it is. And that's all I'd see them for. Then I noticed it would extend past the porn to real life. So whenever I'd leave the house, I would scan my environment for a woman to objectify. I'd categorize these women the same way porn would for me. It's like my brain stayed in porn mode from screen to real life. You know what they call it? Like porn brain, I think they call it. Like that's how I felt when I look back on it. I was porn brained. And then sometimes I'd carry that objectification home with me. And I'd even watch a video or search for a video that fit that category of a woman that I saw earlier in the day. So let's say I saw a woman when I was walking outside and she fit into XYZ category. I would go home later that day and search up XYZ category. It felt gross. It felt very gross over time. And truthfully, it was draining to do as well. That's where the idea of this episode kind of came in. It's from personal experience of falling into objectifying women in such a frequent way. Plus, when I go into recovery communities on Reddit, I see the same questions come up. The great part about your brain, though, is just as this became a habit through repetition, you can also rewire your brain to seek attraction, not objectification. And this habit, it doesn't just stay inside your head, it changes how you relate to people. When you view women through a sexualized lens long enough, it starts to affect not just how you see women, but also how you connect. It's much harder to stay present because your brain is always scanning for those cues. Also, how you experience intimacy. If you're always objectifying women, you're no longer present enough to experience intimacy, right? It becomes like a porn scene rather than emotional connection. And it doesn't just affect you too. Like it affects your partners or other women can feel it. I remember specifically an ex-partner told me directly that she felt I was using her just for sex. It felt gross to hear that because, well, obviously I loved her, but I did also objectify her too at times, so I knew where she was coming from. If you're looking to experience real intimacy, connection, and have healthy attraction, then objectification, it can't exist. It's as simple as that. So that brings us to this point. If you're objectifying women and you don't see this in your life that you're building, like the life that is free from porn, then how do you change? Great question. Now, I've found a few things that help me personally break this cycle. And to start, it always starts with awareness. You can't change what you don't notice. At first, it might feel difficult, especially if it's because objectification happens in the background. And for some of us, it happens almost automatically. But if you can become better in tune with yourself and become aware in the moment, you're able to stop that loop. Next, another thing you could try is labeling. So if you catch yourself objectifying someone, don't shame yourself. That's not going to help. But you can label it as old wiring because that's what it is. It's a conditioned response your brain learned over time. This is going to help you separate who you are from what your brain is doing. Then there's also reframing. Objectification, it makes you focus on one part of a person for your own sexual gratification. So reframing can shift that focus. You can remind yourself that this person, whether it's on a screen or you're walking outside, that they're not for your sexual gratification. This is a person, right? There's a person with a story, a family, feelings, goals, a whole life. And it might sound small, but that's a mental shift that retrains your brain to see people as people again. This is important because that's directly working against what porn does. And finally, reflecting on it. Your brain probably started objectifying because it was trying to escape discomfort, right? Emotions like loneliness or stress, whatever it was. So take a moment later on and reflect on that. Ask yourself, what was I really feeling before that moment? And that kind of self honesty, that shame free self honesty, keyword shame free, that helps you address the root cause instead of the symptom of what's going on. Guys, I know these tricks I gave you, they might seem like small, insignificant even steps, but they are powerful. Because each time you do them, you're training your brain to build a new pattern. And that's how you start making real change. All right, I have a challenge for you guys. For the next 7 days, I want you to pay attention to moments where your mind slips into objectification, whether it's in public, online, in thought, whatever it is. And when it happens, pause and ask yourself some curious questions. Like, ask yourself, what did I just notice? What triggered it? What emotion might be underneath this? Boredom, loneliness, stress, right? And how can I reframe what I saw as a human and not as something that's sexual or to be objectified? I hope you guys are journaling already. So if you are, write it down in your journal. Write down 1 or 2 reflections a day. The goal here is not shame whatsoever. It is just having awareness. That is it for today's episode. So thank you for tuning in and sticking around. I hope this one was able to give you some knowledge and actionable steps on objectification, also how to move forward. So if this episode helped you, please leave a review on the podcast or give a comment letting me know. I would really appreciate it, guys. All right. Have a nice rest of the week, and I'll catch you in the next one.